that. You go crazy with it, boy. So I can collect respect. Plus the checks I won't fit to get into. I've been to a decade of spinners I need to attend to. Cause my rich dude, and this rap shit's my meal ticket. So you goddamn right I'ma kick it. I ripped over like Stephen King. My black cast is over. Running niggas over like Chris King. When I rock the spot, took the floor. I got the plenty of ass. They call me an astronaut. As I blast fast another nigga's ass. I'm strong. With an inmate in a California state prison. To deny charges, hang up now. To accept charges, press 5 now. I really don't mind doing very that one method. You know, I only got my hands for it. I'm not doing my, you know, doing my black. Oh my god. I think a 0-0. Hey, but wait. I might have to carry. I might have to carry this here, right? I'm not sure I have to carry. Oh god. I'm bad with that.
one, nigga. My bad, before I take it, but you know, this is susceptible. One about the 3 universe, for real. It's susceptible. It's susceptible. 3 universe, only something else. Only something else. Zero, only something else. Chat, I'm playing with a random like we're playing, and it's cool though. Both people. Hello. Wait. Hold on. No ballback.
Hey, Chuck.
Hold on, hold on. Hold on, dude. I'm sorry. I'm missing. I'm playing around. I'm missing. Playing around too.
This is standard. It's an ad. Oh yeah, see you soon.
You're just out of sleep.
March 11th. Mark your calendars. Coming in North Carolina. Hey. Oh, that's an Emmy. That is an Emmy.
I can't even get. I'm good. I got that too, but that's crazy. I'm facing a whole other direction to get the steal. Listen, the legal shot, I ain't really need to do it.
News cameras never come. You with your man's tongue and heavy, worse in your round. With your grams of slums, with his Spanish Chevy's come up. With a cool man who come, he know the work and he can't run. With the plans to make it funded, escape with the set. To achieve this goal quicker, so warm my way wet. Faced with immeasurable odds, said I gave straight bets. So I felt the most something and you nothing. Check, I'm from the other side where other guys don't walk too much. And girls in the projects went fuckers and we talk too much. So they ran up the time and saw them lose the trust. I don't know what the fuck they doing, but niggas is values like us. I'm full with a beat was inevitable, so my time's unforgettable. Boosters in abundance, but I had price sweater new. Your word was everything, so everything you said you do, you did it. Couldn't talk about it if you ain't living. I'm full of niggas, pull your car, and all you all day about who's the best MCs, Biggie, Jay-Z, and ours. With the trucks all see far, and guns all big ours. At each other's moves for the love of foreign cars. Catch cases, hoping the judge, R&R. But most times find himself locked up behind bars at all. I'm from where they ball and green rhyme stars. I'm from Aussie, son. The story to remind y'all. Cliff over love, where I'm from. Aussie, son. Ain't nothing many places, but I'm rolling home. Cliff over love, where I'm from. Aussie, son. Ain't nothing many places, but I'm rolling home. Cliff over love, where I'm from. Aussie, son. Ain't nothing many places, but I'm rolling home. Cliff over love, where I'm from. Aussie, son. Ain't
My wife
nothing
is another
many.
woman. I don't know.
I'm from a place where the church is the flakiest, and niggas been praying to God so long that they atheists. So you can't put your best away and say you will it tomorrow, but the day after we'll be saying, damn, I was just with him yesterday. I'm a block away from hell, not enough shots away from straight shells, an ounce away from a triple beam, they're using a handheld weight scale. You're laughing, you know the place well, when the liquor stores in the base well. Government, wrong government, niggas politic themselves. When we call the cops at 18, cause they hop on the band and spray things. And life expectancy so low, we making our wheels at 18. But how you get rid of guys? You step in line, you rep solidified. Tell me, when I rap, you think I give a fuck who criticize? If this shit is live, God strike me. And I got a question, are you forgetting guys who live just like me? We never know. One day I pray that you won't say if I ever know, I let them know. It stays exactly what takes place when we get to promise and feel. Still I feel my job ain't done. Go up for love where I'm from. Marcy, son, ain't got to go up for love where I'm from. Marcy, son, ain't got to
Chad, that's good. I ain't gonna lie to you, Chad. I made the best Made the best. Also, I made the best clan in the world, bro. Yeah. No way the game. No way the game gave me an early round. That's good. That nigga need a purple. Oh no! No, it's crazy. Game's over now. What? Nah. Crazy. This nigga ain't against the ball. Crazy.
Yeah, give me 10. Give me 10. We owe you 20, 40. This is 10 and just 20. That's what I'm doing. You owe me 20. Give me 130. Whatever, you don't have to. We just don't have no change. Nah, good. Fuck. Nah, good. I got it. I'm meeting here. I don't try to. It's you. It's you I gotta watch. Ain't that right, Paul? Yeah. What? It's you I gotta watch. Man, how much you want me to give you, bro? Oh, I didn't see that, bro. Open your goddamn eyes. Oh, I know you want to talk about the old ass. The old ass. It'll be 60 to get out of it. Yeah. Bro, coming real soon here, motherfucker. Make it to 60. Goddamn, you have about 6 kids. Goddamn, make it to 60. You have goddamn 12 packs. 12 packs. 12 packs for the stock.
Chill out, bro. I did all that work. Pass the ball.
About the niggas, bitch, and I got to have it's routine. When the hit the show, you know we all fucking once they grip the cuss. My legs had the gat on my lap. Cause it's hating when you're skating and your pockets is fat. Don't act for it like your ass a prize. Just recognize don't place it up. And if it ain't a Chevy, don't race it up. You know we keep it banging, don't claim to run. So all the real niggas stay close to us. We make a paper us, only claim to touch. By sticking to the script and never changing us. You know we keep it banging, don't claim to run. Keep it real, motherfuckers, stay close to us. It's going down, motherfuckers. Like that, sound like that cat. Upstairs, that. And the rest of them stop. I hope nobody don't call me. Sit, don't stop. Make you pop, pop. Now that's getting cut shit. It's not cop. Secret tripping. Folks like bullshit. You better read it on the gate. You the ladies non-fiction. Watch out for the Christian. This West Coast on mine and fuck.
They had to try to dribble, nigga. This is a shot ball.
She walking, holding on the extra clip. Now you wanna be free, but you gon' make me alone. Slap the other clip in and slow. You wanna go toe to toe, hit my pistol down on the ground, on the pound, nigga, hell no. I'm saying extra love, cause it just isn't me. We need nothing enough. I guess that's when I feel somebody. One thing that's really sick, nigga don't speak on me. Won't stop so let me be. It's TCO? Oh shit. He's a goddamn liar. He's definitely he's a bullshit. He's a bullshit. Hey, Paul, I think I just phone. Niggas famous, let's get rich. Under the sun, with the young 2-1s, TLC, and all the DPGs. Therefore, whoever wanna sit me now, you're looking like me, I guess you wanna do it. It take a whole lot to be Snoop Dogg. You got to put it down and always stay G'd up. All shoes with the G apparel. If I fall in the floor, I might bust a pair of safety ass. Never catch me up in RFD. I might be in a 3-piece suit looking way on chick. Legs in the ass with the home cat. You can rough dog. Cause I love putting pussies on the map. I keep it gangster for straight up low. And always got the motherfucking donut smoke. For all my bucks and kin folks, this is for y'all. Let me get some, though. I be with my friends. We hop it and drop it. Let me don't blaze it out. And if it ain't a Chevy, don't raise it out. You know we keep it hanging, don't flank the fire. For all my niggas, they this shit out. We keep it people hustling, only claim it top. By sticking to the script and never changing up. You know we keep it hanging, don't flank the fire. Keep it real, motherfucker. Gangsta, dog out. Something for the 9-5 plus cocaine. I'm a trade, go low. Yeah, so me. My nigga bow count the beat. Roasted for life, what? Yeah. West side. Yeah. You can't spell the west without the ES. Oh yeah, we're connecting, y'all. That's how we do it. Stay with it. And we out. Sing it.
Maybe that's so early, yeah.
Oh, God. That's a good deal.
I'll get it back. Don't you want to sit down and do the check?
You want me to sit in the
You like
chair?
money?
I ain't got no more. I would have felt it. I'm saying I would have felt it. I don't got it in my back pocket.
Super high, put your cups up, get your smoke in, baby. Ain't nobody located. When you provoking, put your phones on, check a look around, that shit going down.
I'm not lying.
A whole lot of freaks, top nachos, they plotting every week. What you wanna do? Reach your next thrill, take the next pill, top specs fail. Damn, you looking good. Bum, 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 bum. Tell me what you gonna do, it ain't nowhere to run. Just because we do it, just because we do what you gonna do, it ain't nowhere to hide. Just because we do this, it's gonna come to you. I'm gonna set the party on fire, I can't look at my back. Why is it done? And I got to be fucking sad. The less I got to be, tell me you piece of the street for the beat. Living in my mind right there, no way you can go. Got that shit working on a plan together. Part of the Lord, I'm 24/7 days. God's moving for next, even though the devil's all up in my face. But giving me safe, they did my place. Back to the cash and rest, but I take the face and chill. And against my soul. But really, there's no much to do. Ooh, what can I do? It's all about the family and how we do. Can I get a witness? Let it go. We live it on like switch and I'm so
Wait, on both of them niggas, that's 50%?
Let's follow the road, slow, whether it's understanding, come on, so think about the people that's on them, they're ready, get their mood. Listen to people know their family, exactly how many days you got lasting, when you laughing, we're passing the way, you always stop slow, so I don't want to do a bad long road, y'all know that whatever got
Ain't no way to get it. Nah, bro.
but when it got I gotta go back, all the look to do was cry, like you my dog, yeah, man, I miss my Uncle George, y'all, he should be gone in front of his phone, what he did to do was wrong, wrong, gotta hold on, gotta be strong, when it did wrong, better believe on, gotta show that you can lean on, every day, every day, every day,
how do you have LL Cool
Motorola Razr is bringing a different perspective. So flex your imagination and turn it up. Purple Rain. Well, yeah. Thinking about the mix out here, I had to. Thinking about the viewers here, I had to. Savage. Don't roll it up, my nigga. Roll up, jump out the car, squeeze the trigger. Don't roll it up, my nigga. Roll up, hop out the car, squeeze the trigger. I can hear the purple colors. I can hear the purple colors. I can hear the purple colors. I can hear the Xanax colors. I can hear them purple colors. I can hear the red colors. I can hear the street colors. I can hear the street colors. Thinking about them licks out here, I had to. Thinking about the viewers here, I had to. Thinking about that cash like it's fast food. I'm thinking about this cash like it's fast food. I'm paying all my time, receiving bad news. Lord forgive me for my sins, I know this cash rules. Everything around it turns fast food. Standing in this culture. Stay down to the toes, working G5. So much yellow growing on me like a beehive. Started rocking by my moms like they Levi's. Overtime, the bitch was like a gold mine. I served in Alabama like roll tide. I can hear the purple color. I can hear the purple color. I can hear the purple color. I can hear the sex color. I can hear the purple color. I can hear the red color. I can hear the street color. I can hear the street color. I put in the water, got me listening. When I whip that big one, can't you picture me, bro? Fuck you pussy niggas, ain't no sympathy. Niggas telling lies, they so feminine. I be selling five, chasing feminine. Fuck a 9 to 5, get it at the gym. Push illegal when they call it at the gym. How come I won't take it for the whole film? I need better thoughts, I need better vibes. Focus on the top and let my niggas shine. I need more advice, I got no time. Hustling for a right, feel like I'm with the nighttime. Wake up both sides, cause your life ain't like mine. Pay me no mind, I ain't paying no mind. Everything I did was for my hood this whole time. I'm talking this whole time, for my hood this whole time. I take advantage, gotta learn, I take advantage, dog. Stole a golf cart, I go and buy a ballpark. Drove a stolen car, now I'm called push start. I'm from the park, man, the crib big like Walmart. I can hear the purple color. can hear the birds coming. I can hear the birds coming. I can hear the zins coming.
Paul Keith, 1 and 4.
I can hear the birds coming.
Paul Keith, 1 and 4. I can't keep you always with you like that.
I can hear the streets coming.
Oh, wait,
I can hear the streets coming.
What's up, I'm moving my thing like that. That's crazy. I'm gonna start this game.
Roll up,
Still
hop
in
on the
there,
car seat.
like,
This tourism commercial promises you can post this.
spot. Alright, cool. Probably get after this game, I think BT's was on the spot. Me and Leon BT's was on the spot, and then after me and them dudes on the spots right there, I'm gonna go ahead and leave the you know what I mean? So leave who's like add Leon on Roblox, and then that nigga on PlayStation.
We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. Let's go. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out.
Go get it. Tryna ball out. Racks on go. Racks on go. Racks on go. Tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out.
Yeah, all that hard in the front, niggas shoot. These niggas snakes 7 pounds. Shot a bullet stopper than 100 pounds. I do my knee up 100 pounds. That shit, I think I got 100 pounds. It nigga copy how I know, copy how I know, copy how I love, copy how I dress. Maybe I'm slip, shooting at your chest, open up your chest, feel like round test. But I ain't price like an elevator, let me light the air. Turn up when you pushing niggas, might as well. Let me get my head, I'ma ball out, get the rest, I'm gonna ball out, get the rest, I'm gonna bitch out, hit it pussy once, then I switch out. We tryna ball out, let's go. We tryna ball out, let's go. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out.
Good.
We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. Go get it, we tryna ball out. What you tryna do? Racks on go, racks on go, racks on go, low D ho. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. Yeah, you can catch the goals and the nerves. I make it sing like a bird. That shit got my phone moving alert. These niggas softer than a turd. Bitch next, so I let it pop a bird. Lord, I'm just praying that it works. Falling hard in the mark from the spurs. Nigga was mine and yours. Yeah. But that cash, I need pay. Put up straight, and I need Jimmy. I need Trump, I need Benny. Hit my team, hit my shimmy. Bad bitch, look like Winnie. Bad, I ain't pretty. Bad, but see, we tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. That's nice. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. Tryna ball out. Don't get it. We tryna ball out. Let's go. Let's go. Racks on go, low D ho. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. We tryna ball out. You 100, so that mean you be my standards, baby. Got a lot of hoes, more than I can handle, baby. I can't even lie, sorry, you my kind of lady. So what you doing later? You count my money, baby. You 100, so that mean you be my standards, baby. Got a lot of hoes, more than I can handle, baby. I can't even lie, sorry, you my kind of lady. And that 100, baby. You be 100, baby. You be 100, baby. I got money and I throw it with no hesitation. Sneaky bitch, bitch, they be steaming in the best game. I'ma leave on late, bitch, you in that drop top. Pull up in that motherfucker, make it all. Like on the side, tryna cop block. Pulled up a penny, guess it was a crop top. And I would not stop, tell about the situation. It ain't really hard to tell about how the moves I make. Taking out these nigga bitches, you can say I'm Drake. I'm that nigga, you that bitch, and ain't no downstate.
Hey, chat, we so close to 200 subs, gang. So close. We so damn close. We so close, chat. We just need to lock. We just need to lock in. We just need to lock in so about to drop a lot of more videos. I bet you see y'all about to start seeing a lot of more Who Plays videos and streams. Also, YouTube streams. I'm playing this nigga named YouTube streams. I could not do anything because I never failed. Ain't no way that nigga hit gas.
Hello. How the hell you do that?
Dang.
What? What? What you doing? Yeah, you tripping like that. Ain't no cop in that motherfucker. Alright.
Crazy chat. They're not gonna know. Oh. What the? That nigga be hitting up on. I want to look at this thing. How long green up? Please tell me to let me know. I would love to know too, chat. Like, I would love to know. Oh man. That nigga 80% now. 80%.
The $20 taste of KFC meal is 6 pieces of chicken and these 4 sides. Mashed potatoes and gravy, some of this, creamy this, and cheesy that. And don't forget the buttery biscuits. All that for 20 bucks. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Who I get to steal? They're gonna be we're stealing the oh god, and you fucking nigga, see? No, I want demon talk, man. Nigga. Nah. Oh god. just screwing so hard. Why is you saying, nigga?
Stop doing that. You just screwing so hard. Really on. Hold on, gang. I'm probably sniping.
You know what I'm saying?
All that nigga about to do is run like all the old work.
Nigga, I fucking so bad. these tools. All these tools be fun though.
Remember the things you loved doing before your asthma got in the way.
Fair play, they said, nah, it's. I'm just like, oh no, no. What the hell am I doing? Stop playing with niggas. I'm like, this niggas up. Yeah, I'll play with a pin shooter. That's 7-0. Yeah, go ahead. I want to what? Yeah, nigga, you might as well just shoot. Your best bet is me. So take me. Nigga, I sweat to the game. Don't niggas think they sweat. They don't sweat.
I know this might seem out of the blue, but I got Jesus here. We were wondering if you might want to purchase.
What?
What are you doing? Sarah Toby yelled. We're getting rid of the demon initiation.
Yes, Paul.
Time he started, said the leader of the mob. And the old man said,
Pre-milestone may start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too. For most, HPV clears on its own, but for others, it can cause certain cancers for your life. Ask your doctor about HPV vaccination.
left. As he did, he turned to the doctor and growled,
Time
if
to
I
say
find
bye.
anything else wrong with him, then
Just
there
say
already
bye
is.
next
I
time.
swear I will find you and rip you apart. Meanwhile, in another dimension, a woman of about 20 years of age stood in front of a mirror. She was about 5'2" with long white hair, pale skin, purple eyes, and ruby red lips. She had an hourglass figure, velvet chest with long slender legs. A man would drool at the sight of this woman if it weren't for the look of intense rage on hair, pale skin, purple eyes, and ruby red lips. She had an hourglass figure with a velvet chest and long slender legs. A man would drool at the sight of this woman if it weren't for the look of intense rage on her face. This was the Shinigami. I can't believe those good-for-nothing hairless monkeys. Shinigami raved in pure anger. I had to do something to help the kid out. The goddess of death tapped her chin and had a look of complete total bop on her face before a look of inspiration crossed her face. She grinned as she walked over to what looked like a large mirror. She then reached in and searched around. Now where are you? The Shinigami said, identifying two men. Who are you supposed to be? Mercer, the guy with the jacket, asked with a scowl. My name is Sora, the woman said, or as most people call me, the Shinigami or Death Goddess. The two gazed at her for a few seconds. You don't look like a Death Goddess, Alex said in his usual monotone voice. No, really. The woman said, and what is a being of death supposed to look like? Starkiller responded for Mercer by saying, ugly, monstrous, evil, and a whole lot of other things that you just aired. Sora was quiet for a second before she suddenly burst into a haze of black smoke. When it faded, it showed a hideous monstrosity with pale skin, visible black veins, and what looked like faces that were in agony all over in its body. The only thing on its face was a large mouth that was filled with teeth. Believe me now? The monster asked. Yes, both said. Needless to say, they were pretty scared of the monster that stood in front of them. Alex, despite his usually monotone nature, was close to wetting himself. He had seen some pretty freaky things before this was something that actually made his skin crawl. Starkiller was actually scared. Poor Sora who made the Gorog he fought while saving General Codex seemed like a puppy in comparison to this monster. Sora took her beautiful form again and addressed the two after sweeping a lock of hair out of her face. Now then, what I am about to show you is probably...
Plus, it comes in sizes small to triple extra large. Take advantage of free shipping for new users. What are you waiting for? Download and...
She was probably going to make you really angry, or scar you for the rest of your lives, she said while she placed her hands on both of their foreheads. The two were then shown images of Naruto's life, the assassination attempts, the beatings, being ignored, given overpriced rotten food. Needless to say, the fact that they were mad was very obvious. Starkiller was unintentionally calling on the force. The ground beneath cracked from the large amounts of pressure. A few things around him actually started to bend. His hands also crackled with force lightning as his rage really started to manifest. The Lex Biomass was rippling across him like a raging sea. The arms were slowly forming claws as he was unconsciously thinking of ways to make the villagers who would do this to avoid they. In fact, the only thing that was keeping him from going down there and going all homicidal on them was the fact that he had no idea where they were. When the images were done and over with, there was a tense silence among the two humans and the goddess. Why? Starkiller asked after a few minutes of silence. Why would they do this to a boy? And what can we do about it?
To answer the first question, it started when he was born. Sora explained. When he was born, a demon called Kyuubi attacked. The boy's father fought it and then sealed it inside of him. When he did, he thought the boy would be seen as a hero among the people. Apparently, the little punk was dead wrong, Alex growled. You think? Sora asked before getting serious. Now I want you two to go train him in what you do. Train him. Alex asked a little shocked. I can't go infect this kid with this virus. How do you know he won't go crazy with power and kill everyone in his way? I can't give you all the details, Sora said, but this kid has a really important role in the future, and if this keeps up, he won't be able to do it. Alex groaned, but relented. He figured if it was important, then he would have to just go ahead and do it, no matter how much he didn't want to. He always did hate to take orders. Now he'll be sending you straight down to the village the boy is in, Sora said. Head for the hospital and grab the boy. He should be in room 212. While you're doing that, I have some business to take care of. With that, the three vanished in flumes of creepy black smoke. In the land of the living, in flumes of black smoke, Starkiller and Alex Mercer appeared in an alley not far from the hospital. How in the hell are we supposed to find this kid anyway? Alex asked as the two walked out into the street, which was abandoned this time of night since the mob was sent to Ibiki. We head for the hospital, Starkiller replied. Then we grab the boy and get out of here. With that, the two long-dead warriors made a dash toward the hospital. They entered the large building and wound up getting stopped by the receptionist. Pardon me, gentlemen, she said, but the hospital is closed at the time. Alex was about to consume her or slice her when Starkiller waved his hand in front of her face and said, sleep. The receptionist suddenly felt very tired. She fell over, but Starkiller caught her and laid her down in the chair at the receptionist's desk. Whoa, Alex said. How did you do that? Starkiller headed for the elevator and started to explain. The Force allows me to do a great deal of things, one of which is to manipulate the weak-minded. Alex whistled and said, talk about playing mind games. I just consume a person and take their place to mess with my enemies. Upon hearing that, Starkiller was intrigued. Really? Vader's former apprentice asked, how did you manage that? A hooded man looked at him before saying, he'll tell you later. At that moment, the two arrived at room 212. They walked in to see Naruto asleep with the eye, V, still connected to him. Alex walked in and slowly removed the eye, V, from the boy's arm. After looking, the man was shocked to see the small prick in the blonde's arm from the eye, V, was already healing. Must be because of that Kyuubi thing, Alex thought as he slowly picked up the blonde boy. What are you doing? A female voice asked. Alex and Starkiller turned to see two people. One was a woman with purple hair in a cat mask, while the other was a man with gravity-defying silver hair with a dog mask. Put the boy down. The guy in the dog mask said. Don't worry, Starkiller said. We aren't going to hurt the boy. Though he was wearing a mask, Starkiller could sense the suspicion in the man. I know what you're doing, the man in the dog mask said, and I won't allow you to bring the demon back. The man took a stance and tried to focus chakra into his hand, and he probably would have if he hadn't been bashed over the head with the spine of a katana. He never really did get over his sensei's death. The woman in the cat mask said, what do you plan on doing with my little Otuto? Our boss wants him, Alex said. We're taking away from here to train. At that moment, Naruto stirred in Alex's arms and turned to Neko sleepily. Neko, Ne-chan. The boy asked sleepily, what's going on? Naruto flew, Neko said as she looked at him. These two are friends of mine. They're going to take you away from here. You can train there and be safe. I want you to grow strong, okay? Okay, Naruto said as he yawned. Good night, Ne-chan. The blonde yawned and got comfy before falling asleep. You better keep that boy safe, Neko said with a dangerous tone. If I find out that someone found his body, I will hunt you down, torture you, and then make you wish you never left the sanctity of your mother's womb. Alex would have chuckled, but since this girl was radiating a small amount of killing intent, he was wary. Got it, Alex said before turning and heading out the door. As soon as Starkiller and Alex were clear of the hospital, the two then started running like hell for the closest way out of the village. Meanwhile, Sarutobi Hiruzen was currently asleep in bed. As he slept, he was unaware of the goddess of death currently looming over Hai's sleeping front. The woman took a deep breath and yelled, wake up, you miserable old monkey. Sarutobi cried out in surprise as he jumped up and nearly hit his head on the ceiling after being scared out of his sleep. He looked at the woman angrily before he paled in fear as he realized who and what he was talking to. I got a bone to pick with you, old man, Sora growled. Shinigami Dono, Sarutobi said with a look of fear on his face. What are you doing here? I want answers, she growled. I want to know why is it you let the Yondaime's son be treated so badly? Why did you let him be picked on and be treated like a pariah instead of letting him know who he was and why he was treated as such? I kept it from him so he could live a normal life, Sarutobi stuttered. At that moment, he was picked up by the collar of his pajamas and hoisted well over the Shinigami's head. Do you call being given overpriced rotten food, being beaten on his birthday, and being forced to live in a dump of an apartment normal? What? The old man said, he lives in the orphanage. Sora groaned in frustration and set him down as she said, he was thrown out of the orphanage 2 years ago when he turned 3. I believe the woman who runs the place said, you're old enough to watch after yourself, demon. Come back here again and you'll be facing Anbu. The old man growled slightly as he heard that. We can feel angry later, Sora said with a growl. I need you to hand over Naruto's inheritance. Sarutobi would have argued, but what was the point in arguing with a woman who could control whether you live or not, already had to deal with this with his wife. The old man then walked over to the closet and took out a large scroll. On it was the picture of a squirrel. I don't think I need to tell you what this is, Sarutobi said. You don't, Sora said, taking the scroll. Now I expect those who hurt the boy to be punished, only the adults, though the kids don't know any better. I understand, Sarutobi said. Good, the death goddess said with a smile. Since that's being taken care of, he'll be leaving. However, if I find you gone and done something stupid, I will personally tear your soul apart. Got it? Sarutobi gulped and stuttered. Why, yes, ma'am. Sora turned to leave when she decided to ask, by the way, why do you have the secrets to an extremely powerful plan hidden in your closet? Sarutobi chuckled before answering, because it's the last place anyone would expect to find a scroll. The ones in the Namikaze vault are fake. Sora cocked her head to the side in confusion before saying, then what's in the vault? The old man chuckled before saying, I pulled one out of Naruto's book for this. They're trap scrolls that are actually filled with the one thing straight male would ever want. Sora was quiet for a moment before she burst out laughing like a maniac. She shook her head as she calmed down and vanished in a plume of black smoke. At some location in the forests around Konoha, Alex and Starkiller were still running a good distance from Konoha when there was a plume of black smoke and Sora appeared. Do you got him? Sora asked. We got him, Starkiller said, but I have to ask who will train the boy in the ways of this world. Things are done quite differently here than home. Sora smirked and said, I think I got that one covered. The death goddess then ran her hand over the boy's stomach. She then reached out and said, take my hand, you too. I want him to meet you too. The two looked at each other and reluctantly touched the woman's hand. Then there was a flash and the three were gone. In Naruto's mind, the three then reappeared in what looked like a large sewer. At their feet was the blonde, who was fast asleep. Stupid humans, a voice growled out. Everyone turned to see a large cage that Alex and Starkiller hadn't noticed before. How did we miss that? The two thought. Oh, Kagome-chan. Sora called out in a sing-song voice. We need to have a little chat. Slowly, a pair of large red eyes opened behind the bars of the cage. Sora-chan, the voice said. If I had known you were coming, I would have cleaned up a bit. The figure came forward to show a giant red-furred fox with 9 swishing tails and massive teeth. Starkiller and Alex both looked a little nervous because of the aura this monster gave off. Kagome aka Kyuubi looked down and raised an eyebrow at the two. What are these two doing here? The monstrous fox asked with a growl. Easy there, Shinigami said. I brought these two to help out the boy that has become your container. By the way, could you take a different form? I think it's a little creepy to our little friends here. Whoa. The large fox let out a slight huff and was covered in smoke for a quick second. When the smoke faded, both Alex and Starkiller's jaws hit the ground. In front of them stood a woman about 20 or so years of age. She had an hourglass figure, well-sized hips, slender legs, a well-developed bust, flowing crimson hair, crimson eyes with slit pupils, and a pair of ruby red lips that had a pair of fangs visible. Kagome sauntered up to the cage bars and looked at the two before saying in a flirtatious voice, see something you like, boys? Despite being well-trained, the two men were then launched back by nosebleeds of epic proportions. Sora huffed and muttered, they didn't react like that to me. Kyuubi giggled before saying, some got it and some don't. Now what is it you came here for? Finally come to take my soul. Sora turned to her and said, he'll explain as soon as our two friends here wake up. After a few minutes, the two woke up after their bodies remade all the blood that they had lost. Now then, Sora said, I brought these two back to life so that they could train your container. They'll train them in their ways. but I want you to teach him the whole ninja way of life. Kagome raised an eyebrow and asked, why should I train a boy? Sora brought up a hand counted off on her fingers. 1. I know you don't like seeing this kid be hurt. 2. If your container is weak, then you are seen as weak. 3. Giving some convincing other than your training, he may let you out of here. Kagome seemed to think about that for a minute and then shrugged. What the hell? She said, besides, when he's older, hell probably be fun to tease. Sora then knelt beside Naruto and tapped his head. Oh Naruto, wake up, Sora said in a motherly tone. I got some ramen for you. The young blonde stirred and muttered in his sleep, where's Ramen-chan? Sora and Kagome looked at each other before chuckling a bit at the fact that Naruto just gave an honorable suffix to his favorite food. After they finished laughing, Sora leaned down and yelled, wake up, brat. The blonde jumped up and yelled, who? What? When? Where? Why? Who are you people, and who's the model in the cage? Kagome felt herself flush slightly as she was called a model. Naruto, Sora said, gaining the young boy's attention, you're going to want to sit down. I have a lot of explaining to do. That was when Sora explained she was the Shinigami. The model was the Kyuubi, who was sealed in him by his father, the Yondaime. The 2 men that were with her were going to train him in the arts so that he could become incredibly powerful. This was actually a lot to take in, which was obvious by the blonde's blank stare when they were done explaining. The boy was staring into space for a few seconds before saying, why me? Why did he have to choose me? Sora put her arm around the upset boy and said, he didn't want to put another family through that. Besides, by you not getting adopted, it saved you some pain. The blonde looked at her curiously and asked, how? Well, if it was an Uchiha, they probably would have trained you into the ground. She explained, listing on her fingers. Some of the Izuka probably would have used you in regular hunts, and the Hyuga probably would have toyed with the seal on you, which would have killed you.
Hey, my package is here. Jacob? Yeah. People been getting these along? Yeah, we've been dropping them off all day. Nice, thank you. Alright, open up this package. Let's see what's
have toyed with the seal on you, which would have killed you. The blonde looked at her and said, good point. So what are they going to teach me, and how is she going to help me? Kagome spoke up by explaining, well, these 2 really exist in the real world. Sora here just brought them in here to introduce you so you wouldn't think you were being kidnapped. You can let me out by tearing off half of the seal on the cage here. The blonde looked at her skeptically before saying, you aren't going to try and eat me, are you? The demonic vixen looked at him before laughing and said, I don't eat humans. They don't have a really good taste anyway. The blonde still looked skeptically at her before reaching up and pulling off half of the seal. As soon as he did, there was a sudden flash of red chakra and the blonde blacked out. Back in the real world, Alex and Starkiller groaned as they woke up. They looked down to see a slightly taller blonde Naruto. They also saw that Kagome was sitting next to them. She shook her head to try and clear the cobwebs. She looked down at the blonde, who was currently asleep. She reached down and scooped the boy up into her arms. The blonde moaned in his sleep as he snuggled into the unknown warmth. He snuggled into Kagome's chest, making her blush slightly. Soft, warm, the blonde muttered. She blushed slightly brighter. A few hours later, near the border of Hai no Kuni, Fire Country, and Mizu no Kuni, Water Country, the blonde woke up with a groan. He looked around and saw he was in a small room. The blonde, who was always wary when he found himself in places he didn't know, got up and easily made his way to the door. He opened it and saw that it was upstairs. The blonde then traveled downstairs and smelled something cooking. The blonde then made his way to the kitchen where he found Alex, Starkiller, and Kagome waiting for him. Morning, Naru-chan, Kagome said. I already made some breakfast if you want some. So that wasn't a crazy dream, Naruto said. That really happened. Cool. The blonde sat down and joined the 3 for breakfast. As they ate, Naruto had to ask, so who are you guys anyway, and what are you going to teach me? Kagome swallowed some of the toast she had been eating and said, I guess we should get to know each other since we're going to be together for a while. Long, dark, and mysterious can go first. Alex glared at her before speaking. My name is Alex Mercer. In my time, I worked for a company called Gentech. Secretly, they were developing a virus that infected many people, turning them into monsters. I found out about it and threatened to release it. Unfortunately, some Gentech goons killed me and the virus was released anyway. I woke up later in a morgue faster and stronger than ever. I slowly developed multiple powers and I found that I had many abilities that helped me survive. Long story short, what didn't kill me always made me stronger. After a lot of hunting, I killed all the people who did this to me. After a while, I got sick of living, so I infected a man named James Heller. He evolved, becoming stronger than me, and he managed to kill me. That's pretty much it. Naruto was staring at the man with a look of slight wonder and fear. He made a mental note not to piss this guy off in fear of being killed. My turn, Starkiller said. I am called Starkiller by my old master. In my time, a large evil empire ruled most of the galaxy. My master, a man named Vader, was one of the most powerful warriors in the empire. When I was a child, said master took me in. After many years of training, he sent me after Jedi. Warriors of great power, and still, after killing a few, I was betrayed by my master. After long, hard battles, I fought my master, but gave up the chance of me revenge to save my allies. I am unsure of what happened next. I awoke later in isolation. In my time, technology was more advanced. Taking a person's DNA, you could create a perfect copy to take their place. I was unsure if I was the real one or a clone. Eventually, I broke away from my former master, and when the time came, I fought him again. I had him at my mercy, but I did not kill him. He was taken into custody, put on trial, and executed. I lived the rest of my life with my love Juno. That is my story. Naruto stared at the man with a look of wonder on his face. This man was like a knight, only without the armor. My turn, Kagome said. My name is Kagome. I don't really have a last name. Most people know me as the Kyuubi no Hyuga. She paused at that to see Naruto's reaction. To her surprise, he started laughing. What's so funny? The woman asked. It's just that I thought Kyuubi was a male, Naruto said. He regretted it after becoming the center of a glare from Kagome. What? Are you saying a woman can't be strong? The woman asked in a tone that said, answer wrong and die. Naruto gulped and answered, no, I just never expect such a lovely woman to be a demon. Kagome lost her vicious look and said, well, aren't you sweet? Anyway, you are basically going to be taught ninja skills from me and skills by these two over here. Naruto looked at them and said, so, you're all going to train me? They all nodded in response. Naruto was quiet and then yelled, yes. Now he'll become the greatest Hokage my village has ever known. The three stared at the boy for a second. Alex got up and said, lesson 1. The hooded man then brought his fist down on Naruto's head. He tied. The blonde yelled as he nursed the newly formed lump on his head. What was that for? Alex crossed his arms and said, that was to wake you up from your little dream world, kid. The blonde raised an eyebrow. What are you talking about? Starkiller got up and said, if you keep doing loud stuff like that, you will be spotted and executed. Plus, do you really believe your enemy will let you go through a long, boisterous speech? The blonde looked at him and probably would have made a comeback, but a quick glare from the bald man made him not. So, Naruto said as they cleaned their dishes, what are you going to teach me exactly? Starkiller smirked before holding out his hand. Slowly the cleaned plates rose up and floated over the cabinet. The cabinet opened and the plates went inside. You can control things with your mind? The blonde asked the bald force user. Killer said, among other things. Naruto was staring at the man with wide eyes before he turned to Alex and asked, what can you do? Alex held out an arm, which then rippled in biomass. Then his upper armed arm became more muscular, and his hand elongated, and instead of 5 fingers were 3 extended blade-like fingers and a similar shorter thumb. Sugoi, the blonde said amazed, but how are you going to teach me that? Alex answered by placing his hand on the blonde's head. What are you? Alex looked at him. I am going to infect you with a virus. The same one gave me my powers. The blonde gulped at being infected with some strange virus. Nothing bad will happen to me, right?
Okay.
Naruto asked the man nervously. Alex put his hand to his chin and answered, well, there is the fact that you may have to consume other beings to heal yourself like I do if I take a lot of damage. Naruto may have been young, but he knew what consume meant. You ate people, the boy yelled. It was out of necessity. Alex said, besides you probably won't need that since you already have your own Excel healing powers. The blonde was quiet and yelled, you ate people. Damn. Me time. Kagome glared at the two and growled, stop yelling. Time skip. 8 years. The scene opens to reveal a 13-year-old blonde. The boy wore a black shirt with a pair of long black jeans and a belt that had a red skull on the buckle. He wore a pair of black combat boots and a red cloak over all that hiding his arms, and a pair of cylinder-shaped objects on his belt. The blonde was sitting in a meditative state with his eyes closed, as the blonde opened his eyes, revealing a pair of ice-cold cobalt blue orbs with slit pupils. The blonde rose up and sighed. So far the last 8 years had been hell. Alex Mercer got to train him first. It started with Mercer infecting him with the black light virus. After about a half hour of pain, as the virus settled, Naruto started learning to control his enhanced strength and speed. It wasn't really hard to do wins. He had to fight Mercer, who was much stronger than him, obviously. The only fortunate thing was that Naruto grew stronger with each time he survived the fights. Alex taught Naruto how to sneak and assassinate. That was made easy since there were a few bandits came through and set up camps, giving the blonde some on-the-job practice. The blonde gained the claw, whip fist, hammer fist, muscle mass, blade, shield, armor, and heat vision abilities. He also gained a new power, tendrils. Through practice, Naruto found he could tie people up with the tendrils, or set up traps and have the tendrils tear them apart. He also found that he could infect a person with the tendrils and make the target shot tendrils out of him and pull everything that was nearby towards him. Alex said that was a power used by a man named SGT, James Heller, the guy who killed him. Next came Kagome. Her training wasn't any easier. The woman was a complete and total slave driver. She taught him a lot of techniques and made him repeat them until he almost ran out of chakra. At that time, she would give him a soldier pill and make him to a different one. She also made him run 50 laps with 50 pounds on each leg. Despite the fact that the training was hell, there was method to the madness. Using so much chakra at once allowed the blonde's chakra reserves to grow. This made his chakra control incredible and allowed him to increase his already monstrous strength. She also taught him a few demon techniques like Foxfire.
Imagine a world where Wi-Fi passwords are no longer a secret. Meet Instabridge, the app that's revolutionizing connectivity. With 19 million free Wi-Fi passwords mapped globally, you're never far from a...
She also taught him a few demon techniques like Foxfire and the Yuki Whip, among other techniques. The last few years of training came from Starkiller. He was the last to train because the elemental nations didn't have the technology to make them. Kyuubi told him that Yuki no Kuni, Snow Country, had been going through some technical advancements. The Force user then set out for Yuki no Kuni. Around the time he returned, Naruto finished his training with Kagome. Starkiller's training is brutal as Naruto's other torturous trainers. Starkiller basically taught Naruto strategy and Force techniques such as the Force Push, Force Lightning, Mind Trick, Saber Throw, and Force Pulse. He even taught him how to protect his own mind in case he ever encountered psychics or something like that. The blonde was brought out of his musings when he felt 4 presences behind him. The blonde turned to see Kagome, Alex, Starkiller, and Sora of all people. Glad to see you, Shinigami Dono, Naruto said, bowing politely. One lesson that Kagome beat into him was etiquette. She also managed to get the bye from boasting so much with a few hard bashes to the skull. It took a lot of lumps and Tylenol to get him to stop being loud, eccentric, and, obviously, obnoxious. Please, Sora said, just call me Sora. I hate formalities. Naruto smirked. Okay, Sora Dono. Sora gained a sweat drop while the other 3 tried not to laugh. So what brings you here, Sora? Naruto asked the woman. Naruto, as much as I know you've grown attached to Alex and Starkiller, Shinigami said, it's time they returned to the realm of the dead. The blonde looked at her and nodded sadly. The boy had grown attached to them. He had even grown to call the Aniki, elder brother. See you around, kid, Alex said, placing a hand on the blonde's shoulder. As much as I don't like to admit it, it's been fun. Sora opened a portal to the realm of the dead and walked in. Alex followed after her. Starkiller turned to Naruto and said, "May the Force be with you, young Padawan." Naruto smiled at his Aniki and bowed. That Starkiller turned and left. The blonde wiped his eyes of the tears that were threatening to spill. Kagome wrapped her arms around him and held him for a few moments, trying to soothe the sad boy. So Naruto, Kagome asked, what are you going to do now? The blonde dried the last of his tears and said, I guess I'll start my own clan somewhere. Truth be told, I don't think that Konoha will ever accept me for who or what I am. Kagome grinned. She was hoping the boy wouldn't go back to that hellhole. So are you going to take your father's name? The vixen asked. No, Naruto said, I have new bloodlines and he'll start a new clan with them. Kagome smiled at him again and asked, what are the bloodlines in your clan name? Naruto was quiet for a second as he thought. He'll call my black light abilities the Kuro Shinka Keke Genkai, Dark Evolution Bloodline Limit, and my force powers the Chikaraten Keke Genkai, Force Release Bloodline Limit. My new name, Naruto Uzumaki Fukyu, Eternal. Eternal huh? Kagome asked as if trying out the sound. I like it. The two stood there for a minute before Naruto asked, what do we do now? Kagome looked out and said, let's get something to eat, I am starving. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed as he finished his paperwork. It had been a long 8 years, mostly because it had been boring. The old man missed Naruto, causing havoc every few days, plus he had no distractions from his paperwork. After telling the council that Naruto had gone missing from the hospital, the civilian council went into an uproar. There were demands left and right about how they should hunt down the demon and have it killed. The old Kage quickly squashed that idea. The civilian council tired to argue that he could be a dangerous enemy. The old man said that it was their fault that Naruto was gone, that if he did come back for revenge it would be their fault, and for they had created the monster that would eventually kill them. They begged the old man try and plus send out Hunter Nin to try and find a boy to bring him back. The old man didn't, saying he would not waste his ninja's time and energy on catching a boy that the council would try to get under their thumb and only wind up making things worse. Meanwhile, in Naruto's house, Naruto opened the cabinet and groaned. "We're out of food already?" The blonde asked, surprised. "I thought we bought some just last week." Kagome, who was sitting at the table, said, "Yeah, but there was the little party I threw you after you finished your training." Naruto raised an eyebrow and thought, "Oh yeah, that was fun." Kagome gave Naruto a serious look and said, "Kid, we don't have any money. We can't buy any more food. What are we supposed to do?" Naruto was quiet. Naruto then snapped his fingers as an idea hit him. "I heard that there's a town a few miles from here," Naruto said. "I guess I could try and find some work there." Kagome smiled and said, "I'll go with you, kid. You may know how to fight, but you don't know much about business." The blonde nodded at that. He may have been trained in ninja, military, and Sith ways, but he had yet to know anything about business or politics. The two packed up and sprinted for the town. About an hour.
Top 3 Christian influencers you have to check out. Number 1, Mark Wahlberg. He's always making sure we stay prayed up every Sunday morning. Number 2, Father Mike Schmitz.
Sprinted to the town. About an hour later. When Naruto and Kagome entered the town, they were surprised that this place looked in pretty bad shape. The town was pretty messed up. People were living in shacks, or even living in what looked like alleys. "What the hell happened here?" Blonde asked as he saw the property around. The two explored the town a bit more until they came across a large bridge, one that was apparently going off toward the mainland or something like that. The two walked onto the bridge here and found that there was an old man in a hard hat arguing with a worker. "What do you mean you quit?" The old man yelled, "I am sorry, Tazuna." The worker said, "I know we've been friends for a long time, but I can't do this anymore." Tazuna scowled at the man. "Fine. Quit if you want to. Well, finish the bridge with or without your help." The worker dropped his hard hat on the ground and then walked past the Naruto and Kagome without so much as a second glance. Naruto and Kagome then approached the bridge building. Excuse me," Naruto said as he tapped on Tazuna's shoulder. The old man turned around to see the boy and the girl standing behind him. "What do you want, kid?" The old man asked in a slightly impatient voice. "I am kind of looking for a job," Naruto said. "Since you look a little short of hands at the time, I figured I could work here for a while." Tazuna looked the kid over. The kid had some muscle, meaning he was strong. He was young, but he looked like he could hold his own for a while. "Do you actually know how to work in construction?" Tazuna asked him with a raised eyebrow. I helped build a little bit, if that's what you mean," Naruto said. It wasn't a total lie. When Starkiller had given him his lightsabers, he had Naruto take it apart and then put it back together. All in all, it was a very time-consuming and irritating process. Tazuna smiled and said, "Okay, kid, get a hard hat and get to work. You can start by helping break down some of the cement so that we can use it in the concrete." Naruto nodded before going off and grabbing a hard hat. As the blonde ran off, Tazuna turned to Kagome. "So girl," the old man said, "what are you doing with a kid like that? You his sister or something?" Kagome smiled and said, "You might say that. He's a good friend of mine." The old man nodded and said, "Well, you better get going. Having a pretty lady like you around is going to distract the workers or get some unwanted attention." The woman nodded and then left. While Naruto spent his time working, Kagome went around the village. She was saddened by the sight of all the poverty around them. She looked to see that the market was low on food. What the heck happened to this town? She thought as she walked through the street. As she walked, she was aware of the looks she was getting from the men. If only they knew that she was a demon who would sooner crush them like insects than date them. As she was thinking, she felt a pull on the back of her kimono around her backside. She was about to turn around and yell out "pervert" when she noticed that the alleged pervert was actually just a little kid. She smirked, reached into a bag she pulled out of nowhere, and gave the kid an apple. The kid smiled, revealing she was missing one of her front teeth. Back at the bridge, Naruto was working when he noticed something. Tazuna looked nervous, as if he was looking out for something. Hey big guy, Naruto said to the worker next to him. What's up with the boss? He looks a little jumpy. The worker looked at Naruto and said, listen kid, there's this guy named Gato who runs the shipping industry. Since he rolled in, he's bled this place dry. That's why everything looks so bad. Boss wants to build this bridge so we don't need him around anymore. Naruto nodded and said, let me guess. Gato doesn't want that. The man shook his head and replied, no. Gato hired these missing nin to help kill the boss. I don't think we should worry though. The boss hired these ninja from Konoha to help him out. The blonde froze, making the worker look at him strangely. Hey kid, you okay? Naruto shook his head and said, I am fine, just some really bad memories. The man nodded. After a few hours of working, it was time to close up for the night. As everyone left, Naruto noticed a man with gravity-defying silver hair. Naruto recognized him as one of the Anbu who was supposed to protect him when he was little, but let the villagers forget. The blonde did his best to blend in with the crowd. Luckily, the man was too engrossed in his book to notice the blonde. After making sure he was out of the mob sight, Naruto made a dash around the village to try and find Kagome. He found her on the edge of the town. Naruto, what's wrong? She asked as Naruto approached her with a nervous look. Konoha ninja, Naruto panted. They're in the village protecting the bridge builder, my boss. Kagome knew that Naruto didn't particularly like Konoha for what they did to his family. What are you gonna do? Kagome asked. I can't believe I am saying this, Naruto said, but I think he'll keep working here. Kami knows we need the money. Kagome nodded at him. With that, they went home, hoping that they didn't get caught by the Konoha nin. It continued like this for about a week. Naruto would come to the bridge and work, but he stayed under the radar of the Konoha nin. While Naruto worked, he made sure to keep an eye out for how many there were. So far, he had counted 4. There was that silver-haired guy who always left him for dead. He also saw one of them was a pink-haired girl, a guy with red tattoos on his face and a puppy, and some guy with a hairdo that looked like it was modeled after a duck's butt. Naruto was currently walking to the bridge. The young blonde had just arrived when a thick mist rolled in. What the hell is this? Naruto asked out loud as he could actually feel chakra in the mist. Lungs, heart, brain, kidneys, jugular, spine. So many targets, so little time. A voice echoed through the mist. As the last word echoed out, there was a huge blast of killing intent that sent most of the workers to their knees. Then one of the workers who hadn't fainted fell down in a shower of blood. And another and another. Naruto felt a presence through the force coming at him. The blonde quickly moved to the right to avoid getting sliced. The blonde then sent out a wave of chakra that blew away some of the mist. With the mist cleared, he could see his enemy. The assailant was a tall man with spiky black, a black muscle shirt, cowhide pants, fabric wrapped around his arms, a mask that covered his mouth, and a huge cleaver-like sword. So a kid is able to withstand my killing intent and blow away the mist, the man said with a tone of curiosity. The man then looked over the boy and said, too young to be a retired shinobi, and this isn't a ninja village. Who are you? The blonde crossed his arms and said, I don't think that's any of your business, old man. Zabuza chuckled and said, you know what they say about boys with big mouths, they're always the first to die. Naruto smirked at him and said, and I bet you know what they say about guys with big swords. Zabuza scowled at the boy while a feminine giggle sounded. Naruto turned around to see a figure in a blue kimono wearing a hunter nin mask. While Naruto's back was turned, the man from before hefted his sword before swinging it. The blonde then vanished in a sudden blur, making the man and his assistant gasp. The two looked around each other when a voice sounded. Force release. Force pulling. The man was then knocked backwards by an unseen force. The man caught himself and clutched his chest in pain. He then glared as he saw the boy he was about to cut open. He glared at him trying to keep an image up, but inside he was nervous. Force release. He thought, I've never heard of that. Does this kid have some sort of bloodline? The man then chuckled and said, I got to say you got some skills, kid. What's your name? Naruto crossed his arms and said, Maruto Uzumaki Fuki. Who are you supposed to be? The man hefted his sword onto his shoulder and said, Zabuza Momochi, former ninja Kirikagure and former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Naruto cracked his neck and got into a fighting stance. Zabuza turned to the other figure and said, Haku, stay back. I want to fight this guy alone. Zabuza then charged at Naruto swinging his sword.
The new Tropic Bowls at Tropical Smoothie Cafe are sunshine by the spoonful. It's tropic time.
Are you having trouble paying for healthcare, rent, gas, groceries, and other bills? Then you've got to see this. The government is basically giving me $1,300 in premium credit every single month just because I'm under 65 and make less than $50K per year. Everyone with a social security number can qualify to get up to $1,340 in benefits by the United States government. It is set aside under this new act that just passed. Guys, it's powerful. You have
Naruto swinging his sword. He was surprised when Naruto was able to dodge each of his swings with surprising agility. After about a dozen misses, he growled in annoyance and yelled, "Stay still so I can kill you." The blonde then surprised Zabuza by staying still and then catching the cleaver before it could reach him. "You gotta do better than Zabu-chan," the blonde said with a cheeky smirk. Haku laughed a bit again, and Zabuza had a red face in embarrassment and anger, and steam was coming out of his ears. The former Kiri ninja then pulled his sword of Naruto's grip, succeeding in cutting his hand. Naruto put up an act and clutched his cut hand. Zabuza then charged at the blonde, whose hand had just finished healing. The blonde then dodged to the right. As he dodged, the biomass in his arms formed large claws. The blonde then swung at Zabuza, jumped back just in time to avoid getting diced, but now had 3 long cuts on his chest. Naruto flexed his claws and said, "Now the real fun begins." Meanwhile, at the edge of the unnamed, unfinished bridge, Tizuna had just arrived with the Konoha-nin he hired to find most of his workers dead. "What the hell?" the man asked. "What's going on?" One of the workers, who was still just barely alive, said, "Boss, Mist, Demon, run." With that, the silver-haired man said, "Sakura, you stay here and protect Tizuna. Kiba, Sasuke, you're with me. I am sensing more than Zabuza and that fake hunter in there." Sasuke, the boy with the duck butt hairstyle, smirked while Kiba, the guy with the dog, gained a feral grin. Sakura, the pink-haired girl, stood in front of the Tizuna with a kunai in her hand. The 3 men then ran into the mist with the intent of fighting their enemies. Back with Naruto. Naruto swung his claws again, making contact with Zabuza's sword with a loud clang. The two had a grappling match for a few seconds before shoving away from each other, glaring at each other. "Damn, this kid is good," Zabuza thought bitterly. If he had been born years ago, he would have been a great asset to Kiri and helped out kill that Teme Yagura. Unknown to him, Naruto heard his thought through his force powers. "Who's Yagura?" the blonde thought. At that moment, the young force user felt of 5 new presences, Owen of which he recognized as the boss. The other 4 were the Konoha ninja Tizuna hired. He felt that the pink-haired one was back with Tizuna, while Silver-Hair, Dogboy, and Duckbutt were on their way. The blonde didn't have time to think of a plan as the 2 Genin and Jonin entered the slightly less misty area. "What the heck?" Kiba asked. "Who the hell is this guy?" Zabuza growled. "Kakashi Hatake, if you don't mind, I am a little busy with a little nuisance here." Naruto chuckled and said, "I really doubt a little nuisance would be able to cut your chest and hurt you, Zabu-chan." Zabuza glared white-hot at the boy, while Kakashi chuckled at the blonde. Sasuke gave a slight smirk, and Kiba just let out a boisterous laugh. "I don't know who this guy is, but I like him already," Kiba laughed. Zabuza growled at being humiliated by a kid. He charged again, thinking he could catch Naruto off guard. He was sorely mistaken. The blonde dodged the blade before knocking the large sword out of his hands and then grabbing him by the shirt and lifting him off the ground, and then slamming him on the ground, leaving a Zabuza-shaped imprint. "Zabuza Sama!" Haku yelled out, then she flew at the blonde, forming needles in her hands, and called out, "Ice release, ice needle shower." Haku then unleashed a barrage of needles that turned the blonde into a pincushion. "I got her!" Kiba yelled as he charged. He himself wound up getting turned into a pincushion himself along with his dog. Haku then went through hand signs and said, "Ice release, demon act." She was cut off when she found herself being choked by some unseen force. She turned her head painfully to see Naruto with his hand extended. The blonde then waved his hand in front of him and said, "Sleep." Haku felt her mind to black and then fell to the ground unconscious. "Who are you supposed to be?" Sasuke asked as he eyed the guy. He was wondering how he was able to take out his brother in no time. "I don't think that's any of your business, boy," Naruto said, glaring at the Uchiha heir. "I demon, you tell me who you are," Sasuke growled. Naruto would have said something when he felt a great deal of people approaching. The blonde Tuin turned toward the direction and said, "We have unwanted guests." At that moment, a small, old, pudgy little midget came out of the now-thing mist, followed by a bunch of bandits and mercenaries. Well, the midget said, "The bloody demon of the mist is actually the little puppy of the mist. That would explain how he was beaten by a kid. Good thing I didn't plan on paying him anyway. Now I can pay that little bitch back for breaking my hand. All right, boys, tear the village apart and bring back any valuables and women you find. I've been in need of some new entertainment." The mercenaries charged forward. Of course, at the moment, they were oblivious to Naruto's thoughts. The blonde had been given the talk by Kagome a good few years ago. He had also found women in the bandit camps that had been abused, and the very thought of rape sickened him. The blonde was releasing a subtle killing intent that only the ninjas near him could sense. Then as the bandits neared, he let it all out. Force release. Force pulse. Naruto floated in the air and then unleashed a huge wave of force energy around him. The blast actually disintegrated a few of the bandits that were closest to him and knocked back the others who were not as close, were sent flying off the bridge. Gato. The blonde roared, making the old man gulp nervously. Today you die. The blonde's left arm was covered in tendrils and then shifted to a large black and serrated blade. The blonde then charged into the crowd and started swinging like a madman. Every few seconds a mercenary would wind up getting either split at the waist or straight down the middle. The blonde continued this onslaught until he was in the middle of the mercenary crowd. The blonde then focused his biomass and yelled out, devastating, tendril burst. The biomass on the blonde's back distorted and then shot out as multiple tendrils ripped through the mercenaries and bandits like paper. All the while everyone was watching with multiple reactions. Kakashi was staring with his only visible eye widened. He was currently hoping that this guy was never his opponent anytime soon. Kiba was watching in horror as he saw someone his own age slice through human being like a merciless killing machine. That and the smell of all the blood was killing his nose. Akamaru made a huge wet spot on the bridge. Sasuke was staring in shock as terrible memories of his clan's massacre played before his eyes. He actually felt a pang in his heart as he saw his father's bodies fall to the ground as his brother, Itachi, pulled his sword out of their father's chest. Sakura was currently torn between peeing herself, taking a dump in her pants, and throwing up. She then settled for doing all three with two large stains forming in her pants and then losing consciousness in a pile of her own vomit. Tizuna, well, he now had a deep fear of ninjas, or whatever this kid was. Satsui, who had woken up from getting his head slammed into concrete, was watching in shock. He wished he could join in on the carnage, but right now he was a little too out of it due to his head injury and possible concussion. Haku, who also recently woke up, was watching in shock. Despite the carnage, she got a look at Naruto. The savage and feral look on his face caused her to blush. She was slightly worried why she was getting heated to the sight of a massacre happening in front of her. Apparently Zabuza was rubbing off on her. It was at the moment that Kagome arrived, sensing the massive outputs of chakra. She saw the slaughter and felt blood rush to her cheeks. She may have been nicer than the legend said, but seeing an onslaught like this really seemed to get her motor going. She was hoping that she was able to control herself before she did something embarrassing. After a lot of bloodshed and screaming, all that was left was Gato at the end of the bridge. The old man was currently shaking like a leaf. Naruto walked up to him, fists balled. The old man fell backwards as the boy approached him. The blonde glared at the man and then turned around. Hey, aren't you going to kill me? Gato asked. The blonde looked back at him and said, you aren't worth killing, you old pile of puke. Naruto was about to walk away before he felt something pierce his back. Behind him stood Gato with a sword he pulled out of his cane. The old man had a smirk before he realized Naruto hadn't slumped over. He looked up to see the blonde had turned back to look at him with a look of pure anger. I gave you a chance to live, little man, Naruto said. Now it's payback time, short stack. Naruto spun around before his arm morphed into a hammer fist and then brought it down on the mon's skull, crushing him like an insect. Then he discreetly consumed Gato into his body. The blonde then turned around and consumed Gato into his body. The blonde then turned around and noticed the massacre around him and said, dang, my teachers turned me into a sadist and a bloodthirsty fighter. Hey, what better way to survive in this world? Zabuza then approached Naruto and said, hey kid. The blonde faced him and said, yeah mister, no eyebrows. Zabuza gained a tick mark and said, ignoring that, listen, there's something in Kiri that needs to be taken care of. Since you're strong, I figured you could help us out with that. The blonde looked at the man skeptically and said, what exactly is the problem? Zabuza then whispered it into his ear. The blonde then looked at him and nodded. Haku, Zabuza called to his companion. We're heading home. We got some business to take care of. At that, Kakashi stepped up. Not so fast, the silver-haired Jonin said. Your friend and the demon are coming with us. Naruto glared at the Kakashi and said, back off, dog boy, or else he'll make what I did here look like a paper cut compared to what he'll do to you. Kakashi crossed his arms. I don't think so. You're coming back to Konoha, Naruto. Naruto scoffed and said, why, so I can be molded into Konoha's weapon and have my secret fulfilled before a corrupt council? By the way, give the old man a message. First, tell him I said hi, and two, if he sends any Anbu or any other ninja after me, he'll be sending them back in a box. While Naruto spoke, he was releasing killing intent that made Kakashi and everyone else around who could feel it nervous. See you later, suckers, the blonde said as he grabbed Zabuza and Haku and then vanished. Sensei, Kiba asked. Was Kakashi gulped and said, yes it was. I don't know what happened to him over the years, but he's our enemy now. Remember that otherwise you might not live to see another day. With that, Kakashi left. These were the rest of Team 7's thoughts as Kakashi left. Sasuke. What power? What was that? Next time I see him, he'll make him tell me where he got such power. Sakura. My Kami, that was Naruto. My mom was right, he is a monster if he would slaughter so many people mercilessly. Kiba. So that's what happened to my old prank buddy. He sure has changed. I wonder what made him think that. Akamaru. That was the guy Master met at the park. Wow, who knew he would become such an alpha? I hope Master doesn't do anything stupid. Later at Naruto's house, Kagome was currently wrapping Zabuza's chest from the claw marks he took from Naruto. Said blonde looked at the swordsman and said, so you need me to help you out with killing the Sandaime Bazooka Jigoro? The swordsman nodded and said, I know it sounds crazy, but there is a good reason for it. The blonde motioned for him to continue. The Sandaime started a bloodline holocaust that led to the death of a lot of people. Zabuza explained. The sooner he dies, the sooner people can enjoy life again in Kiri. Naruto looked at him and said, you're lucky I have a good guy complex. He'll help you. Now we'll have to do this tomorrow, okay? I am tired from the bloodbath earlier. Zabuza and Haku nodded before heading up to their rooms to sleep. Naruto turned out the lights and headed up to his room when Kagome stopped him. What's up, Kagome? The blonde asked. She had her hair hung so he couldn't see her face. After a moment she rose her head, allowing Naruto to see her eyes. The next thing Naruto knew, the woman was practically sucking his soul out through his mouth. She separated with a wet thumb and then threw him into her room before turning to the door and running her finger around the front of the door. She entered the room and slammed it shut, followed by the sound of the lock clicking. On the door was burned, do not disturb. Do so and you will die. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed as he finished his paperwork. It had been a long 8 years, mostly because it had been boring. The old man missed Naruto, causing havoc every few days, plus he had no distractions with his paperwork. After telling the council that Naruto had gone missing from the hospital, the civilian council went into an uproar. There were demands left and right about how they should hunt down the demon and have it killed. The old Cage quickly squashed that idea. The civilian council tired to argue that he could be a dangerous enemy. The old man said that it was their fault that Naruto was gone, that if he could come back for revenge, it would be their fault, and for it, for they had created the monster that would eventually kill them. They begged the old man try and plus send out Hunter Nin to try and find a boy to bring him back. But the old man didn't say he would not waste his ninja's time and energy in catching a boy, but the council would try to get under their thumb and only wind up making things worse. Meanwhile, at Naruto's house, Naruto opened the cabinet and groaned. We're out of food already? The blonde asked, surprised. I thought we bought some just last week. That was fun. Kagome gave Naruto a serious look and said, kid, we don't have any money. We can't buy any more food. What are we supposed to do? Naruto.
Check out this free app. Watch 10,000 plus movies and shows without internet. Download and try it in your phone.
Good old-fashioned legwork. Listen, we have different styles.
Watch more movies and TV free here or stop pay for it.
I take a more slow, deliberate, cerebral approach. It's really gone by.
Any money. We can't buy any more food. What are we supposed to do? Naruto was quiet. Naruto then snapped his fingers as an idea hit him. I heard that there's a town a few miles from here, Naruto said. I guess I could try and find some work there. Kagome smiled and said, "I'll go with you, kid. You may know how to fight, but you don't know much about business." The blonde nodded at that. He may have been trained in ninja, military, and Jedi Sith ways, but he had yet to know anything about business or politics. The two packed up and sprinted for the town, about an hour later. When Naruto and Kagome entered the town, they were surprised that this place looked in pretty bad shape. The town was pretty messed up. People were living in shacks, some people were even living in what looked like alleys. "What the hell happened here?" the blonde asked as he saw the poverty around him. The two explored the town a bit more until they came across a large bridge, one that was apparently going off toward the mainland or something like that. The two walked onto the bridge here and found that there was an old man in a hard hat arguing with a worker. "What do you mean you quit?" the old man yelled. "I am sorry, Tizuna," the worker said. "I know we've been friends for a long time, but I can't do this anymore." Tizuna scowled at the man. "Fine, quit if you want to. Well, finish the bridge with or without her help." The worker dropped his hard hat on the ground and then walked past the Naruto and Kagome without so much as a second glance. Naruto and Kagome then approached the bridge builder. Excuse me," Naruto said as he tapped on Tizuna's shoulder. The old man turned around to see the boy and the girl standing behind him. "What do you want, kid?" the old man asked in a slightly impatient voice. "I am kind of looking for a job," Naruto said. "Since you look a little short of hands at the time, I figured I could work here for a while." Tizuna looked the kid over. The kid had some muscle, meaning he was strong. He was young, but he looked like he could hold his own for a while. "Do you actually know how to work in construction?" Tizuna asked him with a raised eyebrow. I helped build a little bit if that's what you mean," Naruto said. It wasn't a total lie. When Starkiller had given him his lightsabers, he had Naruto take it apart and then put it back together. All in all, it was a very time-consuming and irritating process. Tizuna smiled and said, "Okay, kid, get a hard hat and get to work. You can start by helping break down some of the cement so that we can use it in the concrete." Naruto nodded before going off and grabbing a hard hat. As the blonde ran off, Tizuna turned to Kagome. "So girl," the old man said, "what are you doing with a kid like that? You his sister or something?" Kagome smiled and said, "You might say that. He's a good friend of mine." The old man nodded and said, "Well, you better get going. Having a pretty lady like you around is going to distract the workers or get some unwanted attention." The woman nodded and then left. While Naruto spent his time working, Kagome went around the village. She was saddened by the sight of all the poverty around them. She looked to see that the market was low on food. What the heck happened to this town? She thought as she walked through the street. As she walked, she was aware of the looks she was getting from the men. If only they knew that she was a demon queen who would sooner crush them like insects than date them. As she was thinking, she felt a pull on the back of her kimono around her backside. She was about to turn around and yell out "pervert" when she noticed that the alleged pervert was actually just a little kid. She smirked, reached into a bag she pulled out of nowhere, and gave the kid an apple. The kid smiled, revealing she was missing one of her front teeth. Back at the bridge, Naruto was working when he noticed something. Tizuna looked nervous as if he was looking out for someone. "Hey, big guy," Naruto said to the worker next to him. "What's up with the boss? He looks a little jumpy." The worker looked at Naruto and said, "Listen, kid, there's this guy named Gato who runs the shipping industry. Since he rolled in, he's bled this place dry. That's why everything looks so bad. Boss wants to build this bridge so we don't need him around anymore." Naruto nodded and said, "Let me guess. Gato doesn't want that." The man shook his head and replied, "No. Gato hired these missing men to help kill the boss. I don't think we should worry them. The boss hired these ninja from Konoha to help him out." The blonde froze, making the worker look at him strangely. "Hey kid, you okay?" Naruto shook his head and said, "I am fine, just some really bad memories." The man nodded. After a few hours of working, it was time to close up for the night. As everyone left, Naruto noticed a man with gravity-defying silver hair. Naruto recognized him as one of the Anbu who was supposed to protect him when he was little, but let the villagers hurt him. The blonde did his best to blend in with the crowd. Luckily, the man was too engrossed in his book to notice the blonde. After making sure he was out of the mom's sight, Naruto made a dash around the village to try and find Kagome. He found her on the edge of the town. "Naruto, what's wrong?" she asked as Naruto approached her with a nervous look. "Konoha ninja," Naruto panted. "They're in the village protecting the bridge builder, my boss." Kagome knew that Naruto didn't particularly like Konoha for what they did to his family. "What are you gonna do?" Kagome asked. "I can't believe I am saying this," Naruto said, "but I think he'll keep working here. Kami knows we need the money." Kagome nodded at him. With that, they went home, hoping that they didn't get caught by the Konoha ninja. It continued like this for about a week. Naruto would come to the bridge and work, but he stayed under the radar of the Konoha.
Yes.
While Naruto worked, made sure to keep an eye on so far he had counted 4. There was that silver-haired guy who always left him for dead. He also saw one of them was a pink-haired girl, a guy with red tattoos on his face and a puppy, and some guy with a hairdo that looked like it was modeled after a duck's mother. Naruto was currently walking to the bridge. The young blonde had just arrived when a thick mist rolled in. What the hell is this? Naruto asked out loud as he could actually feel chakra movements. Lungs, heart, brain, kidneys, jugular, spine. So many targets, so little time. The voice echoed through the mist. As the last word echoed out, there was a huge blast of killing intent that sent most of the workers to their knees. Then one of the workers who hadn't fainted fell down in a shower of blood, and another recovered. Naruto felt a presence through the force coming at him. The blonde quickly moved to the right to avoid getting sliced. The blonde then sent out a wave of chakra that blew away some of the mist. With the mist cleared, he could see his enemy. The assailant was a tall man with spiky black, a black muscle shirt, cowhide pants, fabric wrapped around his arms, a mask that covered his mouth, and a huge cleaver-like sword. So a kid is able to withstand my killing intent and blow away the mist, the man said with a tone of curiosity. The man then looked over the boy and said, "Too young to be a retired shinobi, and this isn't a ninja village." The blonde crossed his arms and said, "I don't think that's any of your man." Zabuza chuckled and said, "You know what they say about boys with big mouths? They are always the first to die." Naruto smirked at him and said, "And I bet you know what they say about guys with big swords." Zabuza scowled at the boy while a feminine giggle sounded. Naruto turned around to see a figure in a blue kimono wearing a hunter-head mask. While Naruto's back was turned, the man before hefted his sword, almost swinging it. The blonde then vanished in a sudden flirt, making the man and his assistant gasp. The two looked around each other for him when a voice said, "Force release. Force bullet." The man was then knocked backwards by an unseen force. The man caught himself and clutched his chest in pain. He then glared as he saw the boy he was about to cut open. He glared at him trying to keep, but inside he was nervous. Force release. He thought, "I've never heard of that. Does this kid have some sort of bloodline?" The man then chuckled and said, "I got to say you got some skills, kid. What's your name?" Naruto crossed his arms and said, "Naruto Uzumaki Yuki." He hefted his sword onto his shoulder and said, "Zabuza Momochi, former ninja, Kirigakir, and former member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist." Naruto cracked his neck and got into a fighting stance. Zabuza turned to the other figure and said, "Haku, stay back. I want to fight this guy alone." Zabuza then charged at Naruto, swinging his sword. He was surprised when Naruto was able to dodge each of his swings with surprising agility. After about a dozen misses, he growled in annoyance and yelled, "Stay still so I can kill you." The blonde then surprised Zabuza by staying still and then catching the cleaver before he could reach him. "You gotta do better than this, Zabu-chan," the blonde said with a cheeky smirk. Haku laughed a bit again, and Zabuza had a red face of embarrassment and anger and steam was coming out of his eyes. The former Kiri then pulled his sword at Naruto's throat, succeeding in cutting his hand. Naruto put up an act and clutched his cut hand. Zabuza then charged at the blonde whose hand had just finished healing. The blonde then dodged to the right. As he dodged, the biomass in his arms formed large claws. The blonde then swung at Zabuza, jumped back just in time to avoid getting diced, but now had 3 long cuts on his chest. Naruto flexed his claws and said, "Now the..."
Every American family needs to see this. The government is basically giving me $1,270 every single month, just because I'm under 65 and make less than $50,000 per year. It's actually crazy. All I did to get mine was go to the...
The real fun begins. Meanwhile, at the edge of the unnamed, unfinished bridge, Tazuna had just arrived with a Konoha Inn. He wanted to find most of his workers dead. "What the hell?" the man asked. "What's going on?" One of the workers who was still just barely alive said, "Boss, missed, demon, run." With that, the silver-haired man said, "Sakura, you stay here and protect Tazuna. Hina, Sasuke, you're with me. I am sensing more than Zabuza and that fake hunter in there." Sasuke, the boy with the duck butt hairstyle, smirked while Kiba, the guy with the dog, gained a feral grin. Sakura, the pink-haired girl, stood in front of the Tazuna with a kunai in her hand. The 3 men then ran into the mist with the intent of fighting their enemies. Back with Naruto, Naruto swung his claws again, making contact with Zabuza's sword with a loud clang. The 2 had a grappling match for a few seconds before shoving away from each other. "Damn This kid is good. Here's a thought letter. Had been 4 years ago, he would have been a great asset to Yuri and helped us build the center. Unknown to him, Naruto heard his thought through his force powers. That moment, the young force user felt 5 new presences, one of which he recognized as the force. The other 2 were the Konoha ninja Disney Fire. He felt that the thing one silver ear, gone forward, and just like the other way. The blonde didn't have time to think of the plans that Jinjen and Johnny entered a slightly less misty area. What the heck? He asked. Who the hell is this man? This is a crowd. Gosh, I'm talking. You know how fine I am. It's even a little nuisance here. Naruto chuckled and said, I really doubt that a nuisance would be able to have her chest, except for Chan. Tsubazula glared white hot, while Kakashi chuckled in the glove. Sasuke gave a slight smirk and Kiba just let out a boisterous laugh. I don't know who this guy is, but I like him already. The laugh. Sabuza growled, being humiliated by Kid. He charged again, thinking he could catch Naruto off guard. He was sorely mistaken. Claude dodged the blade, bugging the large sword out of his hand, and then grabbing him by the shirt and lifting him off the ground, and then slamming him on the ground, making Sabuza shake him. Sabzu Asama yelled out, then she over the Claude called out, Ice Needle Shower. Haku then unleashed a barrage of needles that turned the blonde into a pincushion. I got her. Kiba yelled as he charged. He himself wound up getting turned into a pincushion himself along with his dog. Haku then went through hand sign, ice release, demon act. She was cut off when she found herself being choked by someone else.
Packmaster, bro. The real potato knife. I was like, why is this nigga?
I don't got no money to get her around. Tell children, what the fuck I got children? What my people got? So no, I can't. We got no money to get her around. Hey, come on, it's 500,000.
Hello guys, this is Fred, and we are back with our new anime, which is, what if Naruto and Hana got married after he defeated her in a battle? Part 1. The link of this fanfic is in the description, and if you enjoyed this fanfic then please press the like button, and please subscribe to the channel. It motivates me to upload more fanfics like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfic. Naruto Uzumaki was walking away from his team's training, if you recall that. All the Kakashi Hatake did was teach Sasuke Uchiha Ninjutsu or give Sakura Fukuno a scroll to read. With Naruto, all his sensei did was telling him to work on his chakra control. Halfway through the forest, a strange smell filled his nose. He always had a descent sense of smell, which he later found out was due to housing the Kyuubi. He had managed to memorize every scent in the village. He was most familiar with sake and ramen due to the fact that they were the 2 things he had the most contact with. This scent, however, smelled like a mixture of pine trees and dogs. But there was some other pheromone that seemed to draw him towards the source. Naruto followed the smell to a clearing a couple of meters away and caught the sight of a girl who was around 18 training with a trio of ninja hounds. She has long brown hair pulled back into a ponytail and was wearing a chunin vest over her gray long-sleeved shirt. Naruto caught a glimpse at her face and saw the red Hinazaka tattoos on her cheeks like one of the few people he considered a friend, Kiba Hinazaka. He watched for what seemed like hours until the girl stopped and spoke. Come on out, whoever you are. Her sickly sweet voice spoke. Naruto jumped before walking into the clearing. The girl, who yet to be identified, stared at Naruto, while raising a single eye and asked him, "Why are you spying on me?" "Hey, I wasn't spying on you." Naruto defended himself. This of course was true, he wasn't spying but just observing. "I was walking home from training and I smelled pine trees and dogs, so I came to see what it was." "I smell like pine trees?" she asked. "It's more like a mix of pine trees and..." Hello guys, and we're back with our new fan, which is, what if Naruto and Hana got married after he defeated me?
Welcome back to my channel. What if Sasuke was killed? And Naruto also was meant as a once following Sasuke, somewhat severe. Naruto was wandering in battle for some reason. It was as though some tiny, distant guardian had sensed impending doom. He almost bumped into the Raven when she stopped to a small door all of a sudden. This is where you'll be staying, she announced in a voice that concealed all possible emotions. I'll be your host during your stay, so if you have any requests or complaints, contact me. Naruto nodded slowly, the somewhat surreal situation becoming a bit too much for him. Kay, the girl had almost managed to make her way away before his self-control broke and his voice sounded before he could stop it.
So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Multiple Women. This is second part of the series.
Alright y'all, so I'm at the Phillips Seafood right now, and we gonna see if these crab cakes as good as they say. Y'all see $19.99 crab cake sandwich. Are these crab cakes good?
I know once, but I don't like seafood, so...
Yo, how this nigga work at the Phillips and he don't even like seafood? Let's see what the crab cake sandwich look like, y'all. So for $20, we get some seasoned waffle fries, and we also get a little ass crab cake. I don't know if this is worth $20. See how small this is? Add a little lemon for that tang. Let's see what she tasting like. I ain't gonna lie, there's a whole lot of fillers in this shit. $20 and I'm eating straight breadcrumbs, y'all. Let me try a waffle fry. Oh yeah, the fries hit. The crab cake does have a decent taste, but they barely give you enough crab, y'all. Some of y'all in the comments are gonna be like, Peaks, it's a crab cake, that's the reason why it's so expensive. But everywhere else in Baltimore give you way more crab than this. Highly disappointed.
Alright, y'all, today I'm trying my followers' Taco Bell order. First, their new chicken crispy nata with spicy ranch sauce. Taco Bell stepped it up. Hands down, one of their best items. All that shredded chicken in there pairs so good with that spicy ranch. Adds a touch of flavor. I can already feel the Taco Bell runs in my stomach. Get that fire sauce in there. If you're constipated, just go to Taco Bell. This will solve all your problems. Thank you, Jack Punch. They perfected that crunch. Next to their chicken flatbread melt, throw one of these bad boys in. This is diabolical. Make sure you reserve a spot with your toilet later. No, we gotta get cheese in there. I'm asking to get my best store rub. Taco Bell is one of them ones. You get a perfect combination of everything. Soft, fluffy flatbread with that added extra crunch. Next, you gotta grab a stack. Yeah, honestly, just fold it up with chicken quesadilla. That's all I'm gonna be looking later. You already know what I'm gonna do. Got a little crispy nut and crunch wrap. I know I don't go back with the sauce. Double sauce package. This should be illegal. I need to come up here and get one of these. Right, y'all, today I'm trying my followers' Taco Bell. First, their new chicken crispy nata with spicy ranch sauce. Taco Bell stepped it up. Hands down, one of the best items. All that shredded chicken in there pairs so good with that spicy ranch. Adds a touch of flavor. I can already feel the Taco Bell runs in my stomach. Get that fire sauce in there. If you're constipated, just go to Taco Bell. This will solve all your problems. They perfected that crunch. Next to their chicken flatbread melt, throw one of these bad boys in. This is diabolical. Make sure you reserve a spot with your toilet later. No, we gotta get cheese in there. I'm asking to get my best store rub. Taco Bell is one of them ones. You get a perfect combination of everything. Soft, fluffy flatbread with that added extra crunch. Next, you gotta grab a stack. Yeah, honestly, just fold it up with chicken quesadilla. So I'm gonna be looking later. You already know what I'm gonna do. Got a little crispy nut and crunch wrap. I know I don't hold back on the sauce. Double sauce package. This should be illegal. I need to come up here and get one of these. Right, y'all, today I'm trying my followers' Taco Bell order. First, their new chicken crispy nata with spicy ranch sauce. Taco Bell stepped it up. Hands down, one of their best items. All that shredded chicken in there pairs so good with that spicy ranch. Adds a touch of flavor. I can already feel the Taco Bell runs in my stomach. Get that fire sauce in there. If you're constipated, just go to Taco Bell. This will solve all your problems. Neighbor faked it that quick. Next to their chicken flatbread meal, throw one of these bad boys in. This is diabolical. Make sure you reserve a spot with your toilet later. No, we gotta get cheese in there. I'm asking to get my vegetable rub. Taco Bell is one of them ones. You get a perfect combination of everything. Soft, pillowy flatbread with that added extra crunch. Next, you gotta grab a stack. Honestly, just fold it up with chicken quesadilla. That's how I'm gonna be living later. I already know what I'm gonna do. Got a little crispy, not a crunch wrap. No, I don't hold back for sauce.
Yes, sir.
Double sauce.
Versus what comment? I say And get, I can tell.
No, that's you smell like that. Tell me, why do you smell like that?
Hey. Hey. Yeah, your ex-wife was right there. You want me to go get it now? You can take my shit. Hey, baby. You want to get it now? You can take my shit. And you got oh shit, I asked her. Change the AC. Why was she in the car? You want it on the way back? Why? That's why we only wanted you to be with Jerry.
I said, no, good.
I tried to get ball first, but couldn't get there in time. High pressure point and a balance guard.
Mama, did I say shut up?